What's going on, everybody? This is Justin with Me, Myself, and Dice, a channel dedicated to solo board games. And today we're playing one of my favorite games, Spirit Island. So when I started this channel, I not only wanted to look at new and exciting games that are hitting the market, but I also wanted to make sure that we look at older games that may have missed players that are new to the solo part of the hobby, or new to the hobby in general. But as a secondary to that, I wanted to spend more time on this channel with the games I have, exploring the depth and the breadth that those games have to offer. And this is a game that has a lot of replayability, a lot of challenge, a lot of variation. It's just a really fun game to play. So this will be a game that we play over the lifetime of this channel. Today will act as a tutorial so that later on in other challenges we can point back to this video and people that are new to it can learn how to play. Today we're going back to basics and we're using one spirit, pure solo, and going up against the base game. So let's get down to the table and play Spirit Island.
You are a powerful spirit of the natural world, existing on an isolated island. Invaders from beyond the known sea have recently begun their colonization of your island, killing the native islanders, a people called the Dahan, and upsetting the natural balance of things. The spirit of the island must grow in power and throw back the invaders before the island is blighted, beyond all hope of recovery. The Dahan say, if the long shadows of sunset stretching beside you begin to shift and flicker like tongues of hungry fire, do not run. That will only feed your fear and whet the shadow's appetite. This spirit invokes an instinctive fear in humans, perhaps because it doesn't think at all like humans do. It's more alien-minded than most. Until a few generations ago, the Dahan carefully propitiated it only at a distance, steering as clear as they could. But during the years of the relentless sun, it shaded large swaths of the island, averting catastrophe. Since then, many Dahan have been willing to carefully and cautiously heed its words, feeling they have a debt they ought to try to repay.
Welcome down to the table, everyone, for our first ever game of Spirit Island on this channel. And so in future games, we don't have to do rules overviews. We can just point back to this game and put a card up in the corner. We're going to go through the full tutorial of this today, including setup. And if you already know how to play the game and are not interested in setup, then there'll be a timestamp down below that you can skip ahead to the gameplay. So for setup, the first thing we do is I pulled out the 4 spirits that are low complexity. There are more spirits than this in the base box. And everything that I'm using is base game unless I say otherwise. So these are the 4 low complexity spirits. These are the best ones to start off with. And low complexity does not mean weak. These are very, very strong spirits, and you're going to enjoy playing with these even long after you have gotten really into the game. So there are 4, and I think we're going to pick Shadows Flicker Like Flame. So we take that one, put these back in the box. The next thing we want to do is randomly choose our island. I rolled some dice. We have A, B, C, and D. It came up with A. Now every island board is a little different, but has a few things in common. One, they all have 2 of each land type. So you have wetlands, sands, jungles, and mountains. And there's 2 of each, but how they're laid out on each board is different. And then they're numbered 1 to 8, and they have these icons. These little mushroom huts are the Dahan. We have a city icon, a blight icon, and a town icon here in number 8. So that helps us set up this board. So we take the Dahan pieces. These are little mushroom huts right here. Nice wooden pieces. We put those right there. Give them a nice oceanfront view. They need 1 and number 2 as well. Give them an oceanfront view. We need 1 in number 6 in the mountains, 2 in the sands in number 7. Those are our Tuscan Raiders. And then we need to place our city and our town. Now, the city and town pieces look like this. The town has 2 and is smaller, and the city has 3 buildings. And what's cool about this is this denotes their power and their health as well. So when they're setting up, they're at full health, and this has 2 power and 2 health. So once it takes a hit, it is laying down and then it's gone. This one has 3 power and 3 health, so when it takes a hit, you turn it like this, showing 2 health left and 1 health left here, and then it's gone. So these colonists have already come into our island and have already started colonizing over several years. And it's just started getting bad to where our spirit is slowly waking up. So they've already built a resort right there, and then they built this little jungle outpost right there. We also have a sign for blight. You'll see that right here, bigger on this board. We need to start with 1 blight on the island. It's already started causing some damage, and that's what's really waking the spirit up. The next thing we want to do for setup is look at our spirit, the back of the board. We have this beautiful artwork and the fantastic names. I love the names and the art in this game. We've already heard the description of what's going on with this spirit. We have the play style right here, so when you're searching through spirits, it lets you know how this spirit plays. You have the complexity, and then a summary of powers, what it's good at, middling at, and really weak at. So this is very good information, but the next thing we want to look at is the setup here. It says put 3 presents. That little symbol, the disc with the spiral, is presents on your starting board. 2 in the highest number jungle and 1 in land number 5. So we're going to take 3 presents represented by these wooden discs here, and we put 2 in the highest number jungle. So this jungle is number 3, this one's number 8. We put 2 presents in number 8 and 1 in number 5. It doesn't matter what the land is, we just put 1 there. And whenever 2 presents are in a land, it becomes a spiritual site. So we're going to put this little token on top of it, and that just helps the camera see that that is a spiritual site, whereas that's just a presence. We're done with that, so we flip this over and set up this side of our board. We take the remaining discs and place them along these tracks, covering up the growth abilities there. So this is our energy track, and this is our card play track. And these will go stronger as we go along. We then have our tokens that I'm using for presents. They also have some pin icons in the back, but since we're using those for presents, I pulled these out of the Jagged Earth expansion just so that I can use those for reminder pin tokens. Next, let's set up the invader board over here. The first thing we want to do is grab the stack of fear cards, shuffle those all up, and we're going to deal out 9 of those. So there's 3, let's go through 6, and 3 more is 9. These go back to the box. So out of those 9, we then grab these tiles right here. You have 1 printed on the board for terror level 1. We have terror level 2, terror level 3. So we take those 9 cards. We build the fear deck over here with 3 cards on the bottom, terror level 3, 3 cards on top of that, terror level 2, and last 3 cards on top of that, and that's our fear deck. Next, we need to place a card here. Now you can play with this, especially for your first game. This is really good to play with. It's printed on the board, but we're going to play full rules here and teach those. So we take a healthy island card without looking at which one it is. There are 2 in the base game. They're the same on the front, but different on the back. And we put the other one without looking in the box. We need to build our invader deck. So we take the cards down here and we split them up into 1s, 2s, and 3s. And in the base game, you just take 1 out of each one. So, whoops, without looking, take 1 out of each one. So you're going to have 5 number 3s, 4 number 2s, and 3 number 1s. Oops. So you should have 1 of each out of the decks, 1, 2, and 3, and these just get removed from the game. We need to set up our fear pool, so we take the fear tokens. Now these are cardboard in the base game. These are the upgrades from the Jagged Earth Kickstarter, but the nice cardboard pieces work perfectly well, and we put those in the fear pool. We need to grab some energy tokens, again upgraded tokens, 3s and 1s. grab your minor and major power cards, shuffle those up, and have those ready to draw. Keep those nice and neat over there. I have some extra fear over here, but you'll need pools of explorers, which are the little guys, cities, and towns. Lastly, we need to grab our starting cards. Now, with the low complexity spirits, because they are good for teaching the game and learning the game, you have this black bordered card for each of them that walks you through growing your spirits. We're not going to use this. We're going to play full rules. So this goes back to the box, and we stick with the 4 power cards that belong to our spirit that have the matching art on the back. So these are our 4 power cards to start off. And lastly, we need to give the invaders their first turn. So we flip over the first card, and this says explore, so that they can explore in the jungles. So we have these 2 left. Now explorers always have to come from somewhere. So, and it has to be a structure. It can never be another explorer. So if there's a structure here, they can just they're exploring some more of that jungle land. Here, they could either come from the city, or you can always come from the ocean. So these coastal lands are always in play. We'll put a ship out here just to visually remember that they can always come from the ocean. And then we slide this down, and we're ready for our first turn. If you skip the setup, welcome back. We're ready to start. We go through this right here. Everything is printed nice and neat on the board. First, we start with our spirit phase. Now I'm going to pull in another token from another game, this cool little sea turtle. And this is just going to be a visual reminder of what our growth options are. I'm also going to pull in from the Jagged Earth expansion these elemental tokens. These will just help visually remember what's on our cards. We'll talk about those in just a minute. So we have our cards. This is going to be our hand. We'll flip those over. We have our growth options. Now, we have 3 growth options on this spirit, and we pick 1. We're going to pick this one right here. And we look at the symbols on it. The first thing we do is gain 3 energy. So let's get 3 energy. And then it has the presence icon that we've seen, a plus beside it, this arrow which means in range of, and then a number. So it's saying add a presence within a range of 3 of another presence onto the map. So we'll put our turtle there just to remember that that's what we played. Looking at our cards, I think we're going to place a presence here in this jungle. Now when we place a presence, we can take it from either one of these tracks, and it uncovers a new ability, a new growth. So we can either choose to start gaining more energy, but we have this nice pool of 3. I think I'd rather play 2 cards this turn. So we can go from playing 1 card to 2 cards in this turn. So we're going to take it from the bottom track and place it right there. And then we're going to play Mantle of Dread and Favors Called Due. This is still in our hand. We pay for those. I usually just put these on here until I've activated them. And then we look at the icons along here. We have collectively 2 moons, 1 flame, 2 feathers, and 1 claw. Now not all of these are going to come into play, but it's good to start taking note of what symbols are on the sides. We'll talk more about that in just a minute. So we've done the growth. We didn't gain any energy. We kind of skipped that because we have a 0 there. We chose and play for powers. Now we go to this bird icon. And that means we play our fast powers. So one of the cool things about this game is that we have fast powers and slow powers, and in between the invaders get to go. So sometimes you can act before, sometimes you can act after, and that's a huge puzzle in and of itself. So let's look at our cards. The anatomy of the card, we have the wonderful names. Again, so great. Beautiful artwork, concealing shadows, just so good. And then we have the icons on the sides, the elements that it's providing, and we have the cost up here, what the card does here, and then this info bar here that's very important. Target, what the target is. In this case, it's any land on this card. A range of 0, meaning it has to be in a land where we have a presence, so we couldn't target with this card, we couldn't target this sands right here. And then it has a speed. It's either going to have a turtle or a bird on it. The fast powers go during this phase, and the turtle slow powers go after the invaders. It just so happens that both of ours are slow powers, so we can't play any of our cards. However, we have an innate ability here, and it has an info bar. We can target any land within range 1 of a spiritual site. See, it has the double discs. Within range 1 of a spiritual site, meaning that's our spiritual site, so any of these 4 lands, and it's a fast speed. Now the way this works is these are triggered, and anything that we can trigger with those, we can do. So unless it says the word instead, which ours doesn't, we can do as many of these as we can during our fast phase. So we can pull these out. They're not going to matter right now. We have 2 moons and 1 flame collectively, so we can do this gather 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to entice this explorer, let's say, into the mountains. So he's like, oh, there's a cool peak way up there. I'm going to go check that out. And he's now out of the jungle. So these are not spent. They stay in play the whole turn, but I'm just going to pull those off right now just to remember that we've done that. So we've done our fast powers. Now we go to the invader phase. First we have the Blighted Island. We should have put 2, it says 2 blight per player on this card. These things are hard to pick up. So 2 blight per player is on that card. But we have a healthy island, so we don't need to worry about the Blighted Island phase. We have the fear phase, or part, but there are no earned fear cards yet. Then we have Ravage, Build, and Explore, and that's down here. We go from left to right. Ravage, there's no card there the first turn. Build, they're going to build in the jungle. So they're going to look at the jungles. If they have a presence, they will build there. So down here, they are going to build a town. And up here, they're going to build a city. Now, how you know if you build a town or a city is if there are more towns than cities when you build, then you build a city. If not, then you build a town. So they are starting their metropolis up here. And then they need to explore, so we flip the top card over, and of course they're going to explore in the mountains, which is where I just gathered this other guy. Okay, then we advance the invader cards, and I'll probably advance them as I go from here on out, but that's technically when you do that. Then we can play our slow powers. So let's gather some Dahan. So there's 2 words. We've kind of already done the gather, but let's talk about the 2 words. There's gather and there's push. So gather means to vacuum up, to pull in, and push means to disperse, to push out. So this says gather up to 4 Dahan. So we're targeting a land of 1 of any presence. So that can be any land. I think we have access to every land now. We're going to target this area right here. To gather means we can pull in. So we're targeting the land, not the Dahan themselves. We're targeting this jungle, and we can pull in up to 4 Dahan from any adjacent land. So we're going to pull them in 2 from the sands, 1 from the mountains. Now, if this said push, and this was the situation, we could push in any way we want. We could push all 3 to another land. We could push 1 into each, 2 into one and 1 into the other. It doesn't matter. Push just means to push out, and pull means to pull in, or gather means to pull in. So we have gathered up to 4. Now we have the second part of this. If invaders are present, and which they are, they have a town and a city. And the Dahan now outnumber them. There's 2 pieces here. There's 3 pieces there. Then gain 3 fear. This means we get to generate fear. We have our fear pool up here, and we take 3 and move it down to the generative fear. So this is still in play technically. I'm just going to throw it over here out of the way. And then we can play Mantle of Dread. It's a range that doesn't matter, no particular range. We can target any player as that icon, but we're going to say any spirit, which includes ourselves. We generate 2 fear. We only have 1 left. So whenever the fear pool is empty, that means that we take a fear card, we don't look at it, we move it down into the earn fear card box. We move everything back up, and we still owe ourselves 1 fear, so we'll move 1 more down. And then it says, target spirit may push 1 explorer and 1 town from a land where it has a presence. Well, we happen to have a presence in this jungle right here, so we're going to push them. And I think we're going to push the town here. They will co-opt those into villas, and we will push the explorer there. Actually, I think we'll move everything into the wetlands. That's fine. Let's just move everything in the wetlands. Push them all there. Okay, that's all of our slow powers. Now, the cleanup phase, time passes, our spirits grow stronger, and we move on to the next turn. So that means that we pick a new growth option. Well, we can pick the same one again. This isn't like a worker placement game. Nothing's blocked. So we can pick the same growth option again. However, I've found the best way to teach this game to other people is to run through 3 or 4 turns where everybody gets to pick each growth option, gets to play all of their cards, gets to put some presence on the board and gain a power card. And then you've understood the mechanics at least of the game, and then you can reset it and we can actually play. So we're going to play through a whole game, but you should understand pretty much how to play the game within 3 more turns. So let's go ahead and, in the spirit of that, pick a different one. And we're going to pick this second one, which has a new icon, gain a power card. This rectangle +1 and add a presence. So we can do these in any order. Let's gain a power card first. We're going to gain a minor power. When you gain a minor power, you draw 4 cards, you choose one, and then put the other ones back. So for the sake of simplicity, we'll talk about what I look at when I think about getting a card. But right now, we're going to get this lovely Visions of Fiery Doom. That sounds like us. We are a fear-based spirit. So that's going to go in our hand. These get discarded. They go back into the discard pile. So we can now place a presence. And I think we're going to place it off of this track because otherwise we can only play 1 card, and we want to at least play 2. And I think we want to be able to pay for the 2 cards. I think we want to place this presence right here in the wetland, and that's going to make another spiritual sight. Okay, we can play up to 2 cards. We do need to gain an energy first. We gain 1. And unfortunately, we can't play all 3, even though we can now afford it. But I think let's hold off on our Visions of Fiery Doom and play Crops Wither and Fade. We pay for that, and Concealing Shadows costs us nothing. That was our choose and pay for powers. Now our fast powers, let's make sure we recognize our icons and elements here. We have 2 moons and a flame, meaning we can activate this innate power down here. So the first thing I'm going to do is play Concealing Shadows. We gain 1 fear, or generate 1 fear, and then Dahan take no damage from ravaging invaders this turn. So we're going to place a little pin marker. It's within a range of 0. We're going to place it right there. We'll leave that out to remember that that means that. And then we can gather 1. Let's gather within range 1 of a spiritual site. So anywhere but here and here. Let's gather 1 from here into the wetlands. Okay, that's the fast. Now we go to Blighted Island. We're still healthy, but now we have a fear card. Now fear cards are usually either great, good, or neutral. They're never bad. It really just depends on the board state, and they're kind of circumstantial, but they're never going to hurt you. So we flip this over. We're in terror level 1 right here. So we flip it over and read what it says in terror level 1. And this says defend 3 in all coastal lands. So they're ravaging in the jungle. It's not really going to help us. So this is kind of neutral. So we're defending 3 here, here, and here. But they're only ravaging in the jungles. But that's the fear stage. Now we go to ravage, build, and explore. So we'll talk about that right now. They're going to ravage in the jungles, which means they attack the land and the Dahan. There is no presence there, so they don't ravage. So they are going to ravage here. Now, if this defend 3 had been available to this jungle, then that means that the defend itself would soak up 3 points worth of damage. However, that doesn't defend there. They attack the land and the Dahan at the same time. and you total up their power. So a city's 3, a town is 2, so they're doing 5 damage to both the Dahan and the land at the same time. So let's go with the Dahan first. Dahan have a power and a health of 2. They're either right side up or upside down. So typically that would be 2, 4, 5. So these 2 would be gone and we would be left with that. But we played this Concealing Shadows, which says Dahan take no damage from ravaging invaders this turn. So they are protected by our spirit. So no damage is done to the Dahan. We can take this pin off, and they still do 5 damage to the land itself. If they do 1 damage, nothing happens. If they do 2 or more, it doesn't matter how many more, they put a blight on the land. And then when a blight is placed, then we lose one of our presence there. So since we have a spiritual sight, it's downgraded. This does not go back to our board. It is actually discarded from the game. And then after they ravage, the Dahan, if they are present, get a chance to fight back. So they have 2 power each, which means they're going to do 6 damage to what's there. So 3, 4, 5, they have more than enough. We're just going to place those over here right this second. Now that didn't stop blighting the land, that didn't stop losing a presence, but it did clear out that area of invaders. So that's Ravage. We go to build. They're going to build in the mountains. They have no presence here, so they're not going to build, but they're going to build a town up in the mountains right here. And then they want to explore, and they're going to explore into the wetlands. So they can come from here to here, and they can come just right outside of the resort. And before we move on, we need to take care of these. I place them over here and usually deal with them after I've dealt with all of Ravage, Build, and Explore. What happens is if we destroy an Explorer, it doesn't do anything fear-wise for us. But everything generates 1 less fear than its power. So a city is going to generate 2 fear, and a town is going to generate 1. So destroying these just gained us 3 fear. So 1, 2 for the city, that gives us a fear card, and then 1 for the town. And then these can go away. So if we cause a city to crumble, then mass panic's going to happen. If a town suddenly disappears, then it's a cause for concern. But if an explorer just disappears, then it's just gossip. So we've done all the invader phase. We can move to our slow power, and we have 1 here that is a range of 0. So we're not going to really be able to do anything with this bottom part, which is replace 1 town with 1 explorer, or replace 1 city with 1 town. We don't have a presence here, but we still gain the 2 fear. So 2 more fear is coming down. Now that we've seen them actually ravage and build and explore, and we've seen how the fear cards work, let's talk about how you win and lose the game. There are 3 ways to lose the game. 1, if Blight is gone from this card completely. Now that's a little deceiving because there's only 1 Blight on there now. We never take Blight out of here when they ravage. We take it off the card. But if this Blight comes off, this card will flip. And it'll have, in the base game, I believe it's either 4 or 5 Blight will be placed on the other side, and there'll be other effects. But if the other side, if Blight ever is taken, the last Blight is ever taken off, then we lose the game immediately. If the invader deck ever runs out, we lose immediately. And you saw that if they blight the land, our presence is actually diminished. If we ever completely wiped out our presence, then we automatically lose because our spirit can't act anymore. It has been beat back into memory and oblivion. So that's how we lose. How do we win? Well, in this terror level here, we have victory condition. If we can take out every invader on the board, all explorers, towns, and cities, then we win. But that's not easy. Another way we could win is if you see we've been going through this fear deck. If we can get to the bottom of the fear deck, when this is revealed, we automatically have a victory. But the cool thing is if we can get one, we're only one away. If we can get one more fear card moved down, then it exposes a new tile that replaces this one. And if you look, the victory condition has changed. Now we only have to get rid of all the towns and all the cities. Explorers, they're not going to be a problem. And then if we can build up our terror level to 3, we just have to take out all the cities. So, that's the ways we win and lose the game. So let's keep trucking forward. We have our spirit phase. Let's get the new growth option. So let's pick the one we haven't picked yet. This has a new symbol, a hand with a spiral in it. That means reclaim cards. You take all of your cards out of your discard and put them back into your hand, ready to go. And then we gain a power card. We've seen this. We're going to gain another minor power card, and I'll talk you through what I look for. The first thing I look at when I pull these are the symbols. Now, sometimes just picking a card just because it has the symbols that you need is great. For instance, this one has we're collecting moons first, flames second, and feathers third. So that's perfect. In fact, it has a little red on here, meaning that it is ideal for this spirit when you're learning the game. And then I typically look at the speed. Typically I want, fast powers are usually a little weaker, but the fact that they're fast makes them powerful. So I tend to prioritize fast cards when I'm just kind of trying to sort through this in my head. Then I look at the cost. All of these are affordable, not a problem. And then I look at actually what each one does. So we have been generating fear like crazy. That's what our spirit is all about. So this has a fast speed within a range of 2. Okay, we can reach every part of the island with that right now. We gain 2 fear, perfect. We can push up to 2 explorers and or towns. That's great. If target land has blight plus 2 fear, so if we targeted a land that has a blight, we gain even more fear. Pushed up to 2 more explorers and towns, but then we add a blight. So that add a blight is painful, but the rest of the card is worth it. We have Call to Isolation. It's a fast power, push 1 explorer or town per Dahan there. Okay. So we could target this land, and if we could pull more into that, which we have a card that does that, we can move stuff around here. Okay, that's good, but it doesn't really have the symbol. It has a feather. We only need 2 feathers, and we already have 3 in our hand. So not really interested in that one. This one targets any land at slow speed. If your target land has your presence in it, 1 fear and 1 damage. Oh, that's not bad. If target land is a sands or a wetland, 1 damage. And it has a moon on it, so that's really good. That may be another choice for us. And then this one, within range 1 of our spiritual site, target land is a jungle wetland, 1 fear and 1 damage. But if you have 3 claws, we only have 1 in our hands so far. This would be 2. We gain a damage. I don't see us getting that. So let's go with, as much as I hate taking blight, let's go with the land of haunts and embers. And man, that just looks scary. That's what we're all about. So that goes in our hand. These get discarded. And we need to place a presence. So I want to think about how many cards I want to play and the cost of those. So I can't make the most out of this card right this second because the target land I would choose would have no blight in it. So we may save that for the next turn. We have our other one, Visions of Fiery Doom. And if we do that, we probably want to play another flame. So let's do that. Let's play Visions of Fiery Doom. Let's play Mantle of Dread. Now I'm not actually playing these yet because I haven't gained my energy. I'm just deciding where I want to put my presence. Actually, I will play Lands of Haunts and Embers. This may put us behind a little bit, but that's going to give us a third moon, and it's going to give us a third flame and 2 feathers. So we're 1 short of being able to do this final one. So the feathers aren't going to matter, but this means that I need to pull a presence off of there. So these are still in our hand, and I need to place a presence right here, I believe. Okay, so we're going to gain energy. We gain 1 more, and now we'll play and pay for energy. So we're going to play these 3 cards. That one costs 1, that one costs 1, that one costs 0. Okay, so let's go for Visions of Fiery Doom first, I believe. And we're going to push 1. We're going to gain 1 fear first. That's going to give us another fear card. And we have a new terror level. Man, we are just scaring the pants off these guys. So, push 1 or 1. I think I'm going to push 1 from here into the sands over here. Actually, let's push them into the jungle. And then we have 2 flames, so we're going to trigger the +1 fear. Now let's do our innate power. We're going to destroy up to 2 invaders, and we gain +1 fear per invader destroyed. Now usually they don't give us fear, but they will because of our power here. Now if we had any energy left, we have a special rule down here, Shadows of Dahan. Whenever you use a power, you may pay 1 energy to target a land with a Dahan regardless of the power's range. So we can ignore this power's range and just like focus here because there's a Dahan there. But we don't have an energy. I just want to point that out. So we're going to destroy up to 2 Dahan. This is within range. We're going to take 2 of these out, and that's going to give us 2 more fear. And then we can gather 1 explorer. So we're going to gather this one into the sands right there. Then we have this one, which allows us to gain 2 fear. So 1, that's another fear card. 3 this turn, and 1 more. And we can push up to 2 explorers or a town. So I think we push this one out of here altogether. I mean, we could push 2 out of here, but they're ravaging here this turn. I don't want any ravaging. And it says if target land has a blight plus 2 more fear, push 2 more. We don't have that, but we do have to add a blight. So regular rules apply. This gets put down, we lose our presence. So we took a hit. And it's a pretty decent hit because now our healthy island has gone to a blighted island. And let's see which one we pulled. Alright, so we pulled the 4 per player. Memories fade to dust. So we put 4 more blight on this, not 5 like the other one. And again, if this card runs out, we lose. So we need to be very careful playing that card that we just played. Because healing blight, when you heal blight, it does go back to the card. However, that's a really rare power. Memories fade to dust. At the start of each invader phase, each spirit forgets a power or destroys one of their presence. So that's going to be painful. Forgets a power means we lose it out of the game. Okay, so that's all of our fast powers. That was a lot. Blighted Island, and because that happened, we did that. We actually have to deal with that this turn. So we're going to have to either lose a presence or forget a card. Oh, man. Well, we are hurting on presence as it is on the board. I think I'm going to get rid of Crops Wither and Fade. Man, I really hate to. And it's a flame. Maybe I don't want to do that. Concealing Shadows. I think I'll do Concealing Shadows. So, that was the Blighted Island phase. Let's hope the fear cards can help us out. So, let's flip these over. We are in Terror level 2. We get to skip down. In each land with a Dahan, defend 1. They are ravaging in the mountains. It's not going to apply. Plus an additional defend 1 per Dahan. So, again, that's neutral. Usually the worse you're doing, the better these cards are. Each player removes 1 Explore or town from a land with 2 or few invaders. Ooh, so we could remove a town. Now, it's not destroyed, it's removed. That's different. So we don't gain any fear from that. Oh, that's fantastic. And then this one is defend 2 in all lands. Again, it's not going to matter this turn. Okay, so one of those cards was fantastic for us, but we're digging through that deck. We have a new condition. We only have 2 pieces we have to take out, which is far easier said than done. Okay, so Blighted Island Fear, now Ravage, Build, and Explore. Well, we've already talked about they can't ravage in the mountains. They want to build in the wetlands. So, there are not more towns than cities, so we build a town. They are expanding their villas. And then there's no presence in this wetland here, so they don't build. And then they explore in the wetlands. So we are in level 2 cards now. They're exploring into the wetlands. So guess what? They're exploring one more here. They're just crowding around this ocean and this. But we do have something awesome happening. They have to come from somewhere. They can't come from an explorer on its own. There has to be, in the inlands, there has to be a town or a city. And there's not one here, 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 or here. So they do not explore into the wetlands. They are cut off. So we have confined them to the coastal lands, and that is fantastic. Now we have our slow powers, and we have Mantle of Dread. We gain 2 fear, don't mind if I do, and we target spirit may push 1 and 1 from a land where it has 0. Well, we don't need to do that, I don't think. Nope. We don't need to do that, so we'll just take the 2 fear. Time passes, we can remove those, and let's go to our next. So we have 2 cards in hand, and really, I mean, we could reclaim our cards again and use them, but we haven't seen how to gain a major power yet. And let's do that. Let's go here, and we'll add a presence and gain a major power. So, I don't know what presence to add until I look at a power. So we gain, just like minor powers, you pull 4 cards, look at them, and discard what you don't keep. You keep 1. However, we have to forget another power. That could be a power from our hand, a power from our discard, or it can be the power that we just gained, which means you just don't take one. We have Vengeance of the Dead. It's a fast power. It gives us a moon and a flame. It costs 3, which is actually pretty low for a major power. Gives us 3 fear after each effect that destroys a town, a city, or a Dahan in a target land. 1 damage per town, city, and Dahan destroyed. We're not going to be able to get this power, but that's okay. That's still really powerful. It's harder to pull off on the major powers, the bottom parts. So that's really good. Vengeance of the Dead. Oh, it's like they're coming back to life. We have Winds of Rust and Atrophy. This is a really good card. Within range 3 of our spiritual sight, which right now is anywhere. Gain 1 fear, yes, and defend 6. Then we can replace 1 city with 1 town or 1 town with 1 explorer. We're not going to be able to do that, and it doesn't give us anything we need, really. We have more than enough feathers to activate this bottom part. But that's still a really good card, and it's a fast, actually all of these are fast powers. So then we have Trees of Stone Speak of War. None of those symbols we need is fast, within range of 1. We're targeting a land with a Dahan in it. For each Dahan in the target land, 1 damage and defend 2. We're not going to be able to do the bottom part. That's not bad. Lastly, we have Infinite Vitality. Dahan have +4 health while in target land whenever Blight would be added to a target land. Instead, leave it on the card. Oh, that's fantastic. It doesn't have any of the symbols we need. So I think we're going to take Vengeance of the Dead. More so for the symbols, but it does give us fear. So that's going into our hand. These get discarded, and we have to forget a power. Oh, what power to forget? I think I'm going to forget this one, because adding more Blight, pushing them around is very powerful, but I think that was kind of a one-use card for us. So let's forget that one. Those stay in the discard. That goes into our hand. We need to add a presence, and I think we're going to have to pull it off of our energy income track, which goes from 1 to 3 now. That's great. That is great. Now, where do we want to add it? Well, we're not going to be able to get all 3 cards out this turn because it's just too darn expensive. Okay, I think I'm going to put my presence here and plan to play Vengeance of the Dead. So that's our growth phase, gain energy. We gain a lovely 3, and then we're going to choose and play Vengeance of the Dead, which is not enough. It's only 1 moon and 1 flame, not enough to do anything with our innate powers. It is a fast power. We're going to target this area right here, and we gain 3 fear. So 1, that's going to give us a card, and then push those back up, 2, 3. And then we're going to leave this out because it has an additional thing that happens after something is destroyed. So that was the fast powers. We have the invader phase, Blighted Island. We lose something. I'm going to lose this presence right here. Then we have the fear, and what do we have? We're in level 2. Each town destroys, each town destroys an explorer in its land. Each city destroys 2 in its land. What? Okay, so this city is going to destroy 2 of these. No fear. And this is going to destroy 1, and then we just have 1 that could destroy 1. Wow, that cleaned up nicely. Doesn't affect that card because that doesn't have explorers on it. Okay, Ravage build. They're going to Ravage here. So they're going to do 1 blight to the land because they're hitting a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And they're going to take out this guy right here. He's able to do 1 damage when destroyed. I was going to take out an explorer, but he is hitting that villa right there. So that's not going to get us anything. The fear card cleaned up for me. Alright, so that is Ravage. He can't Ravage there. Build. They're going to build another city because towns outnumber the cities. Look at that metropolis. And then they're going to explore in the mountains, and they can only explore in the mountain number 1. So see, cutting them off from this back is a great strategy. Okay, now it would be slow powers. We don't have any that we can play, so time passes. Trucking right along, we're going to the spirit phase, and we have a growth option. We do have 2 cards we could play. Are they going to be enough? This actually heals back. So everything heals at the end of the turn. So if we don't destroy it, then it comes back. So they're going to Ravage again in the wetlands. Now how Ravaging works with a Blight already there, it's kind of a pandemic thing where you place another Blight because they're going to do at least 2 damage. Whenever you have to place a second or third or whatever Blight, it cascades. So then you have to find a place adjacent where there is no Blight. And if there is a Blight, so let's say there was a Blight in all of these, and I chose to place it here, then it would cascade again. And it continues until either you run out of Blight on the card, or you find a place where you can place a Blight. So we can gather up to 4 Dahan if we use that. We can... and that'll gain us 3 fear. This is 2. So that's almost 2 cards. Not quite. So I think we reclaim our cards and we gain a power card. I'm going to gain a minor power card because I don't care if I lose it. I'm going to have to do something with that Blight because I'm not putting a presence down. Let's see. We have Devouring Ants. 1 fear, 1 damage. Destroy 1 Dahan if it's in the land. If target land is a jungle or a sands, then +1 damage. That's not really going to help us right now. Call of the Dahan Ways. I love this card. Replace 1. It assimilates them into the Dahan culture. Replace 1 explorer with 1 Dahan. Oh, that's so good. That would be a good trick to do right there. And we can get 2 here. So you may instead replace 1 town with 1 Dahan. Oh man, that would be fun. And they blighted this land, so we would have lost that presence. So that's definitely a maybe. 2 fear, Shadows of the Burning Forest. It's 0 cost. That could be very helpful. 2, yeah, this looks good. If target land, we have to target a land with invaders. Slow speed, if target land is a mountain or jungle, push 1 and 1. They're going to build there, so that would be really good. I think we're taking that one. Each Dahan deals 1 damage to a different invader. Push up to 3. I think we have to go with Shadows of the Burning Forest. It's cheap. It gives us 2 fear, and it allows us to negate what they do there. So let's do that. We need to gain our energy. We gain 3. So there's that. And we need to play some cheap cards. So I think we definitely play Shadows of the Burning Forest. We can gain 2 fear off of Visions of Fiery Doom. So that's another card. That's half of another card. We need 2 more fear. Let's do Favors Called Due. Let's do Favors Called Due. So we'll pay for 2 of those, and we'll have 1 left over. That's choose and pay for powers, fast powers. Now let's start with Gather 1. So we are going to, this is the opposite of what I was going to do here. So I haven't revealed any more information. Let's switch that around. I was going to gain 3 fear off of that. Instead, let's do Crops Wither and Fade. Doesn't change anything. We paid for it already. And now we just have 1 more flame. Not a big deal. We don't have any feathers there. So we're going to gather 1. Let's gather it into here. And we're still within range 1 of our spiritual sight. So we can now destroy up to 2 invaders. Don't mind if I do. We gain 1 fear per invader destroyed. That gives us a fear card. We're going to need it. And we have uncovered Terror level 3. So now we just have to get rid of the 2 cities. Still, I'm not very good at destroying towns and cities. That's not what this spirit is about. So our next one's going to be this fast power. We can gain a fear. And then we have 2 flames, so we can gain a 2nd fear. And then we can push 1 within range 0, so I really can't do that. Push 1 town. I would have liked to push him out, but yeah, c'est la vie. And now we go to Blighted Island. We have to forget something. I think we are going to forget Favors Called Due. We saw that really didn't help us. This is a starting card, so I'm just going to throw it back in the box. I can't afford to lose a presence right now. And then we have fear cards. We have 1. So we're in Terror level 3. Invaders do not build on lands with Dahan. So it doesn't help us because we don't have a Dahan here. So they're going to ravage. They're going to ravage in this wetland. So like I said, they add 1. And then it cascades. We're going to cascade it down to this jungle, and then it stops. Have 1 left. This is not good. Okay, that's the Ravage. They're going to build in the mountains. Since we don't have a Dahan there, they still build. And then they're going to explore in the coastal lands. This is always when you shuffle the level 2 cards up, you hope this one's the one that's discarded, because it refreshes everything in the coastal lands. Because remember, they can come from the ship. So 1 there, and 1 there. Okay, we can play our slow powers now. I was hoping to push 2 out of here, but I don't have a presence. So we're just going to gain the 2 fear. That gives us another card for next turn. And then this is the same one. We're just going to gain the 2 fear. Not optimally playing my cards, but I've kind of worked myself in a situation where I can't do much. So this is a really punishing thing right here. I think I'm going to have to pick the growth option again to reclaim cards. not place a presence. Oh, that stinks. Reclaim cards and gain a power card. I could go for another major power card. I'm going to have 4, but I really want to play more cards. So let's go 4. I only have 1 blight. That scares me. Okay, so what can we pull here? Ooh. So destroy 3 towns. That would get us some, but we add 1 blight, and that would end the game. If invaders are present within range 1 of a spiritual site, oh yeah. We gain a fear. If it's a wetland or sands, remove 1 blight. Oh. Oh, man. So we could put a blight back on. That would buy us some time. We just have a call to end. Remove 1 blight. So, uncanny melting, drought, songs of sanctity. If target land has explorers, push all explorers. Otherwise, remove 1 blight. Ooh, within range 1. That's not bad. Especially you have to target a mountain or a jungle. That's not bad at all. None of them really have what I need. So let's take that one, and we'll probably just let the blight lose it. Okay, so we gain energy. We're gaining 3. We have 4 to work with. So I need to go fast. I need push, Visions of Fiery Doom. I'm not going to have the push. So I think we're going to have to play Shadows of the Burning Forest. That's 2. That'll stop them from ravaging there. And let's play Vengeance of the Dead. Let's play Vengeance of the Dead. Okay, so that's 2 fast powers. That's all 4 of what we owe, or what we have. We get 3 moons, 3 flames, and we can do some fun stuff there. In fact, I think we're going to gather first. We're going to gather in this mountain. We're going to pull them out of the wetland into the mountain. Then we're going to destroy up to 2, gain 2 fear. That gains us another fear card. 1 left. I think we're going to pull this off. Maybe. So we gathered, we destroyed. Then we have, we can gain 1 fear. We can push 1 or 1, but it's within a range of 0. We can't do that. We do have enough flames to gain a 2nd fear. And then we have gain 3 fear. That pulls that off. And we won. We won. We won the way this spirit typically wins, which is just digging through that fear deck. Now they still would have ravaged. If we had not pulled that off fast with fast powers, they would have ravaged there. This would have been gone. And there's nothing we could have done about it. We would have lost. So that was close. That was a really close game. Typically, they're not that close for me usually anymore. But teaching, I may not have made some optimal decisions. But man, this game is so much fun. And I will point out that the level 3 cards, when you get to level 3 cards, they throw a wrench in everything because they have 2 lands that they explore, build, and ravage in. So they really ramp up. Such a great game. Love this game. Let's go back up top and talk. And that was Spirit Island. Oh man, that was so exciting. We played that spirit just great. And every spirit plays differently. So you may have a spirit that focuses on fear one time, one that focuses on damage or protection or just moving all of the Dahan around. It's really just every spirit is different. And there's a ton of stuff that I could go into with what I love about this game because I love so much of it. But if I had to pick just a few things for someone who might be interested in this game, here's what I would tell them. First, it would be the theme. The theme is so engrossing and it's so refreshing. It's an anti-colonial theme. It's really taking on the spirit of the island and you feel like you're growing. There's a narrative of a spirit waking up and you feel like you start slow and you build and you build and you build. And different spirits feel very different. You have this curve of growth that just continues to go up, and it can go up at different slopes for different spirit. Add to that the evocative artwork and the names of the spirits themselves, the name of the cards and the powers and the pictures, just all bring it together. It is just so thematic to me. The setting is great and the theme is immersive. The second thing I would point to is the variety in this game. You are getting a ton of game just in the base box. And it's something that I don't think I've even explored everything that comes just in the base box, even though I have the 2 expansions. I mean, just take a look at how many spirits come in the base box, and some are really hard to master as you have different complexity levels. And then if you play like my favorite way to play, which is two-handed solo, you start getting different combinations and they play off of each other very differently. Every game is a unique puzzle. There's just a lot of replayability there. So this is one of my favorite games because it has such a rich theme. It has such a high replay value. It has such depth and breadth and so much to explore. It can grow with me. It can continue to challenge me as I grow practicing the game. And that's, you know, just a couple of things that I really love about this game. As I said in the beginning, look for more of this on the channel. What did you think? What's your favorite spirit out of the base box to play? Leave it in the comments below. If I made any rules errors, please leave those in the comments below as well. If you enjoyed this content, think about hitting that like, smashing that subscribe, and tapping that bell icon so that you're notified whenever a new video goes live. And I just want to take a second to say thank you to everyone who is part of this community. We've reached 500 subscribers, and we have a special playthrough coming up to celebrate that. So definitely hit that bell notification icon so that you are notified when that goes live. I hope you've enjoyed this playthrough, and until next time, thanks for watching and happy gaming.